This is part 2 of a 2-part series. If you have not watched the first part, go do so now. Click the link in the description or in the card above. If you've already watched the first part, go on and enjoy the video.
But yeah, that's enough of Windows 7. Let's get straight on to installing Linux. Now, Ventoy can be a little flaky here, especially when running in EFI mode, but I think this will work. Okay, got the Mac version, boot in Grub 2 mode. Oh, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna have to boot it in BIOS mode again. Or do I? That's why I have 2 ISOs for Debian, just in case one didn't work. I know Ventoy can be a bit flaky. And, okay, there we go. Okay, advanced options, let's do an expert install. Because I ain't a wuss. Okay. Choose language. English, United States, locale. Sure, let's enable Japanese. But leave the default locale at English, United States. Okay, let's configure the keyboard. American English. Mount the installation media. Auto detection successful. Okay. Load installer components. We don't need all this. Now let's detect network hardware. Some of your hardware needs non-free firmware files to operate. Yes, let's load this from removable media. And it doesn't work. This is why I chose expert install. Okay, so I'm going to drop to a shell here and see if I can copy the firmware over. Is there LSBLK? Nope. But I think it was... Okay, it's going to be SDB. Yeah, SDB3. It doesn't support NTFS. Okay, let's try this. Dev mapper SDB1. I can't mount. Why isn't it letting me mount? Keeps complaining about invalid argument. Oh, that's just great. Freaking great. I guess I can just install without an internet connection and then copy the firmware over once the install is completed. Let's just keep going. Okay. Do not configure the network at this time. And I still need a host name. I'm just going to set cyanide. Okay, setup. I do not want to allow login as root. Let's configure the clock. Let's use NTP. Central time. Now let's detect disks. Partition disks. Drop to a manual configuration. Use as ext4 file system. Format the partition. Mount point /. And I think this is good. Now the ESP, which has been auto-detected. Now let's format the swap partition. Use as swap area. Format the swap area. And I think that's good. So let's finish partitioning. Yes, I want to write the changes. Now let's install the base system. And from here, wow, that is going very quickly. Let me see if I can focus. Okay, can make it a little better, but not much better. It's not that readable. It's not terribly readable. Yeah, I hope to upgrade my setup eventually. Kernel to install, let's just use the default. Let's set this to targeted, because I don't want a huge init RAM FS. Okay, now let's configure the package manager. Let's continue without a network mirror for now. Select and install software. This is going to be a very short step since we don't have Wi-Fi. Sure, let's turn on unattended upgrades. No, I do not want to participate in the popularity contest. And we're just going to install the standard system utilities. Now let's install Grub, or at least try to install Grub. Oh, I do not want to force the install to removable media because that would overwrite OpenCore. Sure, let's try this anyway, even though I know it's not going to work. Looking for other operating systems. Yes, I want to run OS Prober. Now let's finish the installation. The system clock is not set to UTC. Now we're going to reboot, and now I have to boot back to macOS because Grub is not installed to the correct path. I need to bless. Oh, never mind, it actually worked! I think that may have overwrote OpenCore, though. Let me see if I can... Well, that's so weird, it just booted to Debian automatically. I think the NVRAM update actually worked, which is crazy, but... Yeah, I'm gonna need to install Refit. But right now, if I want to boot to Debian, I have to bless Grub. I'm gonna have to reinstall Debian, aren't I? Real great. Probably would have been better to create the EFI partition beforehand. So that's what I'm going to do.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, so I reinstalled Debian, this time with a separate EFI system partition. So hopefully this works. Hey, it actually works this time. Okay, good. Let's log in. And here we go. Oh, we're online. That's great. I do need to comment this out. Debian Trixie up. There we go. And yeah, we're online. So yeah, I have to admit, I cheated just a little bit. See, I grabbed another flash drive I had lying around. It's a 2GB one I got from school. And I actually used that flash drive to load the firmware into the Debian installer so that I could actually get Wi-Fi working. First thing I'm going to do is install some software. First I need to update the system. And this is gonna take a bit because I don't have the faster driver yet. I will install it after I reboot though. And there we go. You know what, I think I'm gonna finish setting this up later. I intended this Mac to be used as my server ever since I got my new main computer. I guess I'll just set this up later. I hate how SBIN is not in path by default on these Debian systems. Whatever, I can set it up later. Let's just install FreeBSD. Now this one will be quite a treat because I've never actually run FreeBSD on real hardware before. So any quirks I notice will definitely be seen here. Ooh, I'm probably gonna need to boot this in BIOS mode. Yeah, I need to boot it in BIOS mode. Hopefully it doesn't overwrite the Windows partition, or at least lets me boot from Windows. Oh yeah, look at all these boot options now! Boot installer. This looks like macOS when booting in verbose mode. At least it kinda does. Oh cool, the mouse is working. Set the keyboard layout. United States of America. Set a host name for this machine. Cyanide. Yeah, let's do this. Manual disk setup. Oh my god, there's so much stuff here. Wait, can I just tab over? Okay, I can tab over. Oh, it detected the free space automatically, so... okay, mount point slash, and we're gonna call this FreeBSD. This partition scheme requires a boot partition. Yeah, let's make one. Oh, nope. Okay, delete this image, and we'll create a new one. Revert. Revert and exit. Let's do partition. Okay, it automatically partitioned the free space, which is good. Oh, look, there's 9 partitions on here. Oh my god, this is so silly. Okay, yep, this is the full partition setup here. Let's hit F to finish, and let's commit. Extracting distribution files. Can't unlink already existing. Changing local password for root. Please select a network interface to configure, and of course it doesn't have to frickin'... Okay, the hardware clock is not set to UTC. Local time zone is America. Where is the freaking thing? Oh, United States of America. Okay. Central. Yes. It is indeed the 9th of June, 2025, and it is 5:35. NTPD and Power D. Clear TMP. You can disallow deep trace destructive mode, which... Oh, high jails. Yeah, this looks good. Probing devices. No package. Okay, let's add a user. I am definitely not making the user password the same as the root password. Exit. I'm pretty sure this thing also needs B43 firmware. This is, okay, DA0S3. And apparently this doesn't support NTFS, but we'll try anyway. Yeah, doesn't support NTFS. Not surprising. Okay, let's reboot. And let's see all our boot options here. It'll be funny if there's two options. No, there's... Well, that's inconvenient for me. I mean, it does recognize some of these devices as Windows. So I probably need to try to reinstall FreeBSD in EFI mode. Which means I can't really use Ventoy because that doesn't work. If I boot to Windows here... Oh goody, it destroyed the boot sector, of course. Get missing operating system error. So yeah, more fixing for me to do. Yippee! Oh my god, this thing is relentless. Startup repair can not repair this computer automatically. Let's see what it's detected. System volume on disk is corrupt. Windows has checked the file system and found no problems. Let's try this again. Nope. Didn't work. Bootrec, fix boot. The volume does not contain a recognized file system. Okay, I can fix MBR. I can fix MBR. Maybe that's enough. Nope, it still says missing operating system. Oh, I need to reinstall Windows.
Okay, at this point, I'm sure you've noticed many things I've done wrong and are going to the comment section to point it out. Well, you don't need to, because I've noticed my mistakes too. Really, this experiment was primarily a learning experience for me, and I don't want to spoil the rest of the video, so let's just skip to the part after I reinstalled Windows 7.
Okay, you know what? I've got Windows 7 reinstalled, and I've decided I'm done with this for the day. I'm done filming this for the day. I'm gonna figure out how I can get FreeBSD installed without breaking everything else later.
The next day.
It's the next day, and literally right as I was getting everything ready, I checked the FreeBSD website and saw that they had put out a new release. So I got that ready, and unfortunately, I am going to have to use a separate USB key here to install FreeBSD because it's just not going to work through Ventoy on a Mac. I am aware that Ventoy doesn't exactly work all that well on a Mac. I've tried to use it to the best of my ability, but ultimately, stuff like this is just going to happen sometimes. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually boot into Debian because I want to install Refit, or Refine rather, which should be at least a bit more versatile than OpenCore. Now let me check, are we online? No, we are not online. And DHCP-CD definitely isn't installed. But WPA supplicant is. So I think we're just going to go ahead and install DHCP-CD from my hard drive. Oh right, I forgot. I forgot to copy the debs onto the other partition, so I think I'm just going to switch back to the B43 module. Oh my god, this keyboard does not want me to work away from the desk. Yeah, this one is working better. Okay, we can make this work. Okay, I'm going to install DHCP-CD, and I'm going to... You know what, I'm not going to need this mouse for now. We can just set it aside. Frickin' System D always fucking up the interface names. Can't just do WLAN 0, I have to do frickin' whatever that is. There we go. I'm going to install Refind. Let's not do an automatic install. We want to install to SDA 6. So let's remount the EFI partition rewrite. Now let's do sudo refind install -- default dev SDA 6. Okay. Let's see if this will work. Oh, and while I'm at it, I'm gonna uninstall Grub. Okay, let's see if this will work. Oh, nope, Grub is still installed. So let's try this again. Drop to a root shell. Yeah, let's delete Grub and see if it'll boot from Refind now. Or boot to Refind at least. Okay, there we go. And wow, look at all the... Oh my god. All these boot options. Look at all these boot options. That's so silly. Now that we're in Refind, let's actually unplug my hard drive and plug in my USB with FreeBSD on it. Hopefully it will auto-detect. I probably need to reboot, don't I? Probably could have just pressed Ctrl-Alt-Delete, but whatever. Okay, no name. Boot fallback bootloader from EFI sys. And there we go, FreeBSD. With our nice little daemon in the middle. And of course the screen doesn't initialize. I think rather than going through all this chain loading stuff, I think it would be better to just boot directly from the FreeBSD USB. EFI sys. Boot installer. Geez, this looks a lot like macOS in verbose mode. Makes sense because I know macOS is based on BSD. Is that a hostname? Whoops. I hit Control-C on accident. First thing we're going to do is delete these partitions. Commit, then stop. Now let's do auto UFS partition editor. Delete all these partitions. I think I can use the existing EFI partition. So let's create a 54 gigabyte partition. And then I'll create a swap partition. Let's not use the Apple EFI partition. Don't want to risk accidentally deleting OpenCore. No, it only wants to use the first EFI partition. Okay, let's revert. Delete these partitions. Oh, it just set that to the EFI partition automatically. So I have to tell BSD to use this partition. And no, it keeps marking this partition as boot EFI. And now it won't let me delete the other partition either. Okay, that's weird. Well, whatever, we can do with this. Okay, I really hope it didn't delete OpenCore, because I do not want to have to reinstall macOS. Oh, of course! Something always has to go wrong when trying to install FreeBSD. Okay, good, it didn't delete OpenCore. But yeah, I'm gonna have to rewrite the ISO to my flash drive. Oh my god.
5 minutes later.
Alright, let's try this again. I can use the existing partition map, which is good. Verifying checksums of the selected distributions. Of course the distribution fails to install. Okay, you know what? F this. I'm just gonna use version 14.2.
11 minutes later.
Okay, let's try this again, but instead of booting through OpenCore, I'm gonna use the native Apple bootloader. Please work. Oh no, of course it doesn't work. Is this USB drive too slow? I swear to god, the only reason this thing is failing is because the USB drive is too slow. What the frick? What the f*** is this? It was able to do the installation just fine from Ventoy. Well, I mean, it installed when I could do a legacy boot, but that ended up breaking Windows 7. Let me look something up real quick.
You get the idea.
Okay, let's see if we can use the boot only ISO to do a network installation. I doubt this will work, but there's only one way to find out. God, I really wish I had a KVM switch. Don't you fall out of focus like that. See, there's no Wi-Fi here, only Ethernet. Looks like I'm gonna have to do a bit of trickery to get this to work. Okay, but first I'm gonna steal an Ethernet cable. Okay, I got an Ethernet cable, and I've already plugged one side into my computer. I'm just gonna do like a Wi-Fi sharing over Ethernet, so... Okay, now let's go over to my main computer. Jeez, I really wish I had a KVM switch. Let's head over to the network settings. Frick, how do I... Shut up, KDE! Okay, method... Oh, share to other computers. There we go. The connection is activated. Let's use Ethernet. Yes, I would like to configure IPv4. Yes, I would like to use DHCP. I don't think IPv6 configuration is going to work here. But okay, here's a resolver configuration. I'm just going to add an alternate DNS server as all ones. Which site shall we use? Let's do the main FTP server. Okay, now it's working. What the frick? Why? It is not 5:45 a.m. Sure, let's go ahead and install the FreeBSD handbook. Okay, let's reboot and see if this works. Should probably hold down the Option key. Okay, Refine did detect FreeBSD. That is good. And it's booting. Hey, it works. Let's go. Okay, I'm gonna do a root login. Yes, it actually works. Let's do a dtrace panic. It freaking works. Let's go, man. Well. So yeah, let's see how we can boot every operating system now. We're not done just yet. Oh, it actually did. The startup disk was changed. Have to go back and manually specify OpenCore. And yeah, here's all our boot options. We have OpenCore, we have Windows, we have Debian, we have okay, let's exit Refined. So yeah, let's boot all the operating systems just to make sure they're all working. Okay, let's boot to Macintosh HD through OpenCore, and it works. I'm probably gonna have to change the startup disk again. But yeah, here we go. This is macOS Monterey. We can open up About This Mac if this thing will load. Yep, there you go. I'm gonna restart. And I'm gonna boot to Windows. Okay, legacy chain loading does work through OpenCore. Oh yeah, Windows is loading. And we can log in, and we have Arrow and all that jazz. Even installed a few applications yesterday while I was playing around with this. Select location for the network. Yeah, this is a home network. I forgot I had the Ethernet cable still plugged in. But yeah, here's Windows 7 in all of its glory. And we have a 4.9 system rating. And we can boot to Debian. It's still a very minimal Debian installation for now. We can install Fast Fetch. There you go. Yep, it is indeed Debian. And finally, we can boot to FreeBSD. Okay. Does this have Fast Fetch? This does have Fast Fetch, okay. Yep, there you go. FreeBSD. And yeah, this project was a success. I'm actually surprised. So yeah, now you guys get to stare at this blank screen while I do my outro message. Thank you guys for watching.